with Sonny Edwards, former IBF world champion here at the Sunburn in Gibraltar. How has it been in Gibraltar, man?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a nice couple of days. I only got here yesterday. I'm here till tomorrow, but it's been nice to get a couple of days of sun. Iman Zakmakesh got his first win working with me last night, and yeah, we're pushing on to the future.
We'll talk about Iman. I did see you in his corner. How was it being in someone's corner for such a fight in Gibraltar? It was a great event, as we all know. How is it now getting into being a cornerman now that you're retired, and how does retirement feel?
Yeah, I've been doing corners. I've been managing fighters since Thomas Asomba asked me to manage him. That was about 3 years ago, over 2. And yeah, it's just gone strength to strength. Really, I've just been busy with my own career before I retired, and then now I'm really doubling down on the commentary. Yeah. I've landed on my feet quite nicely with Matchroom. They've been giving me a lot of opportunities, and I've been very thankful for that. Gone Small Talk with Charlie Parsons, which has been going down well, and just sort of working on other sides of my game. And I really enjoy the management. I think that's where really my heart is. Working to get fighters opportunities, build their careers, and represent them. I do enjoy that commentary. I think it's the best seat in the house, and everyone's got to listen to me speak, so it's great. But yeah, I'm just getting busy at the moment.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear that someone is doing so much after they've retired. But now that we've talked about your retirement, how would you feel that your amateur career went? Was it good? How did it feel, really? And was there any advice that you would give to amateurs such as my friend over here?
Yeah, I had fun in the amateurs. Probably the best days of my life in some senses. But I turned pro early, and I didn't look back. I didn't really have no regrets for it. Yeah, I had a good amateur career. Not quite as good as my brother. My brother was the standout European gold medalist as a kid. Success in the seniors, went to the qualifiers, the Commonwealths, etc. But yeah, I turned pro earlier and started focusing on that much earlier, at age of 20.
So now that we know what you did at the amateurs, how was it going into your first professional fights? Was it different to the amateurs, really? Is there a big difference, or is it only a little leap, really? How would you describe it?
Well, really, it gets easier in your first fight. Well, it should do. It's meant to. If you're boxing at a good level amateurs, normally the first few fights aren't going to be as good of a level, but they'll be teaching you some lessons. Build around, taking the pressure, learning to sell yourself. Like, there's a lot of things that go to being a pro that's slightly different to being an amateur. With amateur, it's just winning. It's just the next round. It's all that matters, really. But in pros, there's a lot more strings you need to your bow. And it's about giving yourself the time to develop both rounds, mature as a fighter, as a person in and outside of the ring, let your body develop, being a full-time professional boxer, try and get a strong team with some loyalty where you feel comfortable. Like, there's a lot that goes to it, but when it's done right, the journey can genuinely be, one of the highlights of one involves whole life. It really can. Some nights mean so much that they're talked about forever in circles that are common to it. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I think this has been a great little trip. Hopefully starting a good journey with Iman. I've got a few fighters as well that are starting to come through. I had some success stories with the likes of Ishmael Davies, but just getting behind and really building out the fighters. It's more than just putting on a vest and gloves and a head guard and jumping in for 3 rounds like the amateurs is. Each fight is like a piece of art, really, and you have to really build a brand as well as worry about just a result in the ring.
So you talked about you helping develop other fighters, but then you also talked about your development in your early fights. How do you feel like your early fights helped you develop as a boxer and as a man?
Well, you get to learn the rounds better. You go from being a 3-round fighter, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and you have to learn to pace yourself. You have to get comfortable there. You have to solve different problems when you get into the ring, and you've got a bigger puncher this time. This one's a bit more wild. This one's a southpaw. This one's a bit slick. This one's a bit passive. Like, you have to face all the different sort of styles and tick all the boxes as well. At least most of them, when you want to get in a serious boxing ring, you want to win. You know what I mean? You need to face those challenges on the way up. And I think it's not always just about oh yeah, first round knockout, we're so happy. It's about actually getting fights that teach. It's about getting the fights that teach a fighter to make a fighter.
Absolutely, yeah. So then after that, you went towards your world title fights. You became a world champion, the IBF world champion. It's very prestigious. You look back at it and you say, I was a world champion. How does it feel if you ever look back and think about it? And how was it being a world champion at the time?
Something I'm very proud of. Something I've always definitely felt the second-hand pride, like, you know, for other people and what the world title means to them. I don't know, when I got it, I felt good, but I didn't feel any different. If I'm honest, where my head was at earlier on in my career, I genuinely believed if I only ever won one world title, then that would have been a failure, and that's kind of what I've done. So, to a certain degree, I feel like maybe I should have done more for how good I was at certain times in my life, but at the same time, I think I started valuing the event much more than just worrying about titles. I didn't really care to try and protect the record or pick my way through. I wanted to be involved in fights that people cared about, because I spent a lot of my career building into something that eventually people cared about, but for the first however many years, it was very hard to sort of gather any real sort of attention outside of something I was saying on Twitter or anything, or something. It was, the interest for the weight wasn't there, but I feel like already now things are changing. I do believe that.
Absolutely, it is. So you were a world champion, your brother was world champion. How does it feel making the family so proud about having two world champions in the house? It must be it's a great sight to behold, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but I don't know, the way that me and my brother was raised, I think my dad could have had 10 sons and I'd have been 10 world champions. From what we was doing as our normal weekly routine, as 10, 11, 12-year-olds, you put anyone through that same, they probably would have been a world champion by the end of it. So all praise really goes to my dad for the start, because once he got the ball rolling, when I took over the ship myself at 14, 15 years old, I was already halfway there, and the rest was history.
Do you feel like there's any advice that you may have missed out on when you were younger, or is there any advice that you have to give to the younger generation for the future world champions?
I mean, you could write a book on the advice that you probably need to give a fighter. There's 101,000 different things that you have to go through every day. Relationships with people, things changing, fights falling through, staying positive, injuries. There's a whole encyclopedia you probably need to go through. But whilst you enjoy it, do it. If you don't enjoy it no more, don't do it no more. It's the best advice I could give.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated.